Clerk's report, we have March minutes to start out with.
Motion to accept them as
Second.
submitted.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, all those opposed? Motion carried. Then next, our finance committee meeting minutes when, let's see the date. Oops.
Those attachments.
So I didn't put those in the package because the
did
finance
read them.
committee town meeting
Just stand.
minutes were all like, we didn't do anything.
Yep.
Okay,
I just listed who was
Who was
there.
there.
Like, and for the board of selectmen minutes,
do we need to vote on them, or does it just say
It-
that we met? No, there was no,
there was no
There was no-
discussion.
yeah,
That's all they say.
okay.
So I
think
think
you
you could probably pass them.
Skip.
Just do them,
Finance,
approve
yeah.
them all together.
Yeah,
Motion
so-
we accept all of those.
But-
Which ones were they?
Right, it's finance, board of selectmen, I forgot to put on here. Finance committee, town meeting, and board of selectmen.
As a slate?
Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Those are carried. And then the last bit of business under clerk's report is to decide if we want to change the meeting date in August. It's supposed to be the fourth Thursday, and if you don't look,
Right before that.
the fourth Thursday is the day before Labor Day weekend. So it would 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth would be the 22nd. I think we pushed it to the 29th because I didn't think I'd be back. I will be back on the 20th, so I will be able to be there for the 22nd. So, does anyone have any thoughts?
I'll be back on vacation by the 22nd.
But for the 29th being
Oh, which
Labor Day
would you-
weekend, that's not necessarily a good week because people will maybe be going away on Friday.
Good half of the table.
I could do either. So whichever everybody
careful,
else
he
wants to do.
bites.
One of the things that we mentioned too was that August will be a public hearing.
Oh, that's right.
So the other thing about moving it up to the 22nd is if somebody has a project, the 29th could be a bad day for the public because of how close it
Or
is to
for
Labor
anybody
Day.
presenting a project, because they might have vacation plans.
Yep. So 8:22.
Is the 22nd acceptable? Is that okay? That's our normal?
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will, move the meeting back to the fourth Thursday. August. Okay, next is treasurer's report.
Everybody has a copy?
Yes.
This is substantively the same as what we've said because as we move through the pre-meeting period, it was updated. So you can see that the first page is 2019, and all of the grants that were proposed and accepted are listed. Since we moved a lot of it into 2019, we went from about $1.2 million down to $750,000, ending the fiscal year this coming June. The second page is 2020 projections. The state match is probably going to come in substantively larger than we're currently estimating due to what the State House is doing right
Yeah.
now.
That's
Not
good
that
news.
good news.
But it's $50,000, so if it's twice as big, it's just 50,000 more, which is not a huge number.
See, that's why you're the treasurer, because you did that right in your head.
They're saying it could go to 25%.
Okay,
That's the
so
last
that
thing I
would
saw.
double, that would take us up a little over 100,000, so
Yeah.
that'd put us about $50,000 more. And so you can see the estimates for what the reserves are going to be. And it's not going to leave much in the revenue account when we're done with that, because we put the Grafton Common restoration, $200,000 out of that. So the money will be in the carried over, the middle section, and the reserves. So there you have it. We'll have about $320,000 plus maybe 50 more.
Did we hear any grumble about something, anything coming?
I'm hoping that now that the library is, like, I'm hoping over the summer to figure out how close we can, see if we can ask for Super Park for the fall. But it's not a lot, you know, it's a summer and, you know, no promises, but we're getting to a point where we should have a better idea. Like, my idea over the summer is to, kind of tie into the rec, events and do some, that equipment was picked like 8 years ago now. So there might be new things, there might be different things, so I'd kind of like to go out in the community and get kids to get, you know, like, maybe put pictures of different items and let kids kind of choose what they like, you know, like, just kind of to build excitement again.
Yeah.
You know, because we gotta get people, we gotta get buy-in from the community before we bring a project, so I thought that going out into the community and just talking to people and seeing what they want, what they don't want, you know, like, again, the stuff was picked, yeah, the committee did a great job, they worked really hard, but it was 8 years ago, and there's new stuff, and there's new, you know, like, I just feel like at this point, and I think it's a way to tell people, like, listen, a roller slide is great, the kids love those roller slides, but they're like $45,000, you know, like, so, you know, like, just have an idea, choices, like, and maybe give everybody 5 stickers, you know, like, and which ones do you like, what things, and try to get an idea, and just, again, build excitement and start, the committee, I wrote the charge so that when we didn't meet, it became defunct, but I think using rec commission and town staff, we can at least get a base, a framework of what it would be, and then maybe start like a friends group for the fundraising arm. You know what I mean? Like, so that anybody could join the friends group. You know, the more the merrier, right? I mean, the more fundraising you have, the better. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So this summer, hoping to just at least get an outline of where it could go and what kind of space we have and where it would sit on that property and what the property's like. And then try to build some enthusiasm over the summer and see if people are still enthusiastic about it. You know, maybe they're not. You know, like, you know, all that stuff. Just try to go to where people are at all those rec events and
There's a
see.
pretty definitive plan now for the parking.
Right. So that's what, yeah. So so I just need to meet with Andy and Joe and just kind of see how things can fit in, how we can fit it in. So I'm hoping, again, I hope to show you guys something in August. But if I don't, I don't. But that's kind of, I feel like we need to get some community input and, you know, to kind of figure out what people want to do.
It's just, it was so hot once, you know, and I think it's just fallen onto the
Right.
back burner.
Right, which
So
is
I
why,
think if you work with the rec people and their
Right.
programs, you know,
Yeah.
that'll see if you can stoke those flames.
that's right. You know, we still get a lot of inquiries about it. People still ask to donate money and all of that stuff. So I think people would like, you know, I feel like we just have to ask the question. We have to get out there. We need to start some basic fundraising and, you know, I think an easy fundraiser for us to do also to build excitement, because some of the people have come to me and said, you know, my child wants to donate. You know, so these aren't large sums of money, but I think if we partner with the businesses in town and do like a pennies for parks, you know, and put some milk jugs at all the local businesses and kids can go in and put in their 50 cents or whatever. Like, again, that we might not get a ton of money that way, but we'd get excitement.
Get
We'd
interest.
get interest.
And ownership too.
Oh, right, that sort of thing. So,
And interest will bring money.
right. So it's still, you know, I'm still trying to corral it in and get the process moving.
Yeah.
But I think now that the library is at the stage they're at, I think it's time for us to start again. Because that's what we're waiting for. Because we didn't want to get started on something and then the library
Because the
goes
plan
through.
changed.
Yeah,
A huge
because
change.
yeah, when it goes through planning and conservation, things may change. That's just the way it is. And we didn't want to plan something and then the library needed more space or more, you know, we want to make sure that that is pretty much decided before we really get in there. So again, maybe, I hope, fingers crossed,
Yeah.
but summers go fast. Summers go
Well, they sure
fast.
do.
Do
But-
you need to have the library, building committee, plan for your access road and parking? I kind of-
Yeah, yeah, but that's where Andy, you know, Andy knows what's going on there, right? So if I could talk to Andy DeShane and,
Boy, are his hands full, huh?
yeah, he's helpful for sure.
No, but I mean with all the other stuff he's got going on. With
Oh.
the DPW, getting our cable station
Oh, yeah,
done.
yeah. I think he likes to be busy.
He
That's
offered to
good.
help
Yeah.
with the common restoration.
Oh,
so,
did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He does
So,
a great job.
so in terms of projects coming down the road, that may be,
What about the Nipmuc?
I had an email from Ray Gould that they are planning for the next phase of their restoration project. And so I said that we just had town meeting, so that, and I gave her the dates for October town meeting for the application. And so I would expect, she didn't give me a dollar amount, so I don't know how much, but there might be something coming
okay.
in August, July, for that meeting.
Do you need us to accept the treasurer's report? Did we kind of jump over that? Did we do that yet? Do you
Did
know?
we
No,
jump?
we
Oh, wait.
didn't, Jim asked this question, I think, due to the fact that we said we
Sorry.
would only have $320,000 left at
You know, what's on the
the end of
horizon.
fiscal year twenty
So
twenty.
this is still
He said,
discussion
so
on the
what's on the
treasurer?
horizon, and, yeah, we're
Okay.
still in treasurer's report.
Okay.
We got side.
I'm all set.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Is there a
Second.
sec? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Looks like I contributed.
You'd love to see your name in print.
In the minutes, that's it. Someone look at that and say, boy, that Gallagher was really in tune, wasn't it?
He was paying attention. He wasn't sleeping this time.
Second.
The next item is discussion, project signage for CPA funded projects. I think we have if it's not formal, it's fairly, well understood
Customary.
that, cause I know you had brought it up before that we looked at it, with, I think, Silver Lake Beach, that we're trying to make all the signage consistent in terms of, that they're gonna be long lasting, that
Yes,
they're gonna represent us well,
Style and quality.
right?
And the verbiage too, referred to us all the same way.
Right, and so that's something I think, I don't know how much discussion we need to have now, but this will be part of the preservation plan, that in terms of creating formal policies, cause I don't know that we really have any. And that will be something that, working with the consultant to talk about what policies do we need, what policies would be good to have, what policies,
Well, I mean, the different signs, for different places are one thing. But as far as the indication as to where we appear, how we're referred to, I think those are the things that remain consistent. And we'd have to let them know that right up front,
Right, and
as
that's-
they're, right at the beginning, if their proposal is accepted by the town, we need to let them know, here's what you expect, God bless you.
and that's what, with these grant letters that, the drafts that Joanne has done, which is kind of the very beginning of
Yeah,
that process, but also, two projects that are coming up, or that were passed, are is the historic surveys update, architectural survey update, and the, scales. And that doesn't fit a big granite sign with a big,
Right.
so, that we've gotta have like a little tiny brass plaque or whatever on the weights and measures. And for the report, it's like any of these other reports, it's just in the documentation
Like-
at the beginning of the
Like
report,
Right.
Page 2.
that it says funded by
yeah.
or with.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to talk about the common too, because
And-
Yeah, we're not
you
gonna
can't
have a
just
sign.
put any big
No.
sign up.
Right.
There's already a sign up there, historical marker sign.
And what kind of, sign,
Yeah,
Like a little something.
I don't know,
like one
we
in
need to
front.
have something, but we gotta think about what that's gonna be.
Because I think that would also be, it would be separate from the project, but also a good thing to do at the same time as the sign that was put up by the corridor. I haven't really looked at it lately, but I think a lot of those got faded and they're really hard to read. Is that the most appropriate sign? Is that something that they would entertain finding another sign for us? That's the district that would have to do that, but the district to work with, with those two projects,
Yeah.
to come up with some kind of a sign that,
Yeah, maybe we could incorporate the two together.
So you don't
That's a
have-
good idea. I don't think it's that faded, cause I looked at it not that
I mean, they might have, cause
It's not the
the
nicest
top
looking.
piece can be replaced,
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
might
yeah,
be that
it's-
they've done that.
Yeah, it's a
And the
little yellowed
base.
and scratched, yeah.
Because the one at Willard House is just completely faded.
That's a good idea to think about what else we could
Mm-hmm.
do if they were willing.
And to try to roll stuff,
Great idea.
together. Okay, anybody else have any?
Where is this sign for the Old Town Hall?
I don't think we ever put a sign up there on that building.
There's nothing inside? I thought there was a big,
Oh, there is, yes, there's, I believe, right inside the doors, in the lobby there.
Geez, you know, I went looking,
right-hand
I went a few months ago and I went looking for signs. I couldn't find one there.
did you go in the front?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's not really a sign, it's like pictures of the work being done, all
Yeah.
framed in black,
okay,
and I
all right,
think
then
there's,
that's not what I was looking for.
Yeah,
That's
and
why
I
I didn't
think-
think I saw it.
it mentions that it was funded by it, but I have to look at it again, I don't.
I noticed like at airport, I remember seeing the sign there and it's not there anymore.
Oh, really?
I remember seeing the sign when we did the dedication there. That sign's gone.
Was it granite posts and?
No, it wasn't elaborate. It was a sign about the field and the dedication and the community preservation. And I don't know if it was vandalized or what, but it's not there at all.
Cause that was only $25,000. It wasn't, what's that, a small?
No, but I mean, you know, that's,
Right.
you wanna have a little bit of a
Right,
audit trail there. Yeah,
maybe that's another like little project to keep track of. Project, when we have our projects, the sign that goes with it. Just to keep a record, so that, like you said, there was one and now it's gone.
Right, and with the, so, with a ball field, a park, what are we, 10 years from that project now?
Yeah.
We might
Oh,
not want our
more
name
than that,
saying
yeah.
that we've
'Cause it
just
needs
paid to
more
improve
work,
it, because it could be run down,
yeah.
That
you know.
they're-
But I hear what you're saying, yeah,
It might be a good idea, just, because we're trying to do more pictures and put
Right.
stuff on the website, like, so just take a picture of the sign,
Yeah.
yeah.
when it's installed, so that we have a
At
record
least a
of what it
record of
looked
what
like,
it was, right.
where it was, what it.
The only one that stood the test of time is the one where Ken went down and met the guy down there and said, put it here.
Riverview?
Not here, not here, but
That
here.
was Riverview, yeah.
That's Riverside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody seemed to want to make a decision.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Remember,
Here.
Ended.
we didn't know which way to point it, right? Because
Well, yeah, it's,
someone loses out no matter which way you put it.
Okay.
So moving on, the documents for the grants, and
I gave you, all of them, I didn't put one together for the purchase of the Robinson properties, mostly
think that's
because
over.
it's, I think the purchase and sale was signed, so, by the time I get it written, it'll be over. But this was so that you could kind of get an idea of what they look like.
Yeah.
John and I had talked about the fact that when a project comes before us, before we even go to town meeting, we'll probably assign the member of this committee to it, because if we do that, then the minute town meeting's over, I can put these together and send them out, and things start to happen.
They look great.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I really like these.
I used ones that were in place from 3 other towns to come up with this. Some were very, very formal, some were a lot more loose.
I have a question of detail about
Yes.
one of the bullet items, if it's appropriate to ask.
Which one are we
Under
looking at?
project accounting, the second category, the
Yeah.
third category, the third bullet,
Yep.
I think that the way it's written, it says that it applies to smaller, less complicated projects, but large, complicated projects, I think, would not be able to meet that.
Meaning,
It means that it says CPA funds will be distributed only after the project is completed. And that doesn't work for large, complicated
Yeah.
projects that need progress payments
Right.
variously.
if I say project/work, or,
Yeah, okay.
or phased,
Or, what would be a good word? Paul,
I'm trying to think, I mean. by
Just
approval
instead of
from-
project, say work. Work
it wants to
on
mean
the
like,
project.
you want to describe the subunits of a project.
Could it-
Yeah, I would say you definitely want to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, so what would be a term?
What you could do is, at the completion of the project or completion of phase, if it's a phase project. And then when a project comes in that's large and, complicated, then you can define however you want to do the
Right,
phases.
but
Design,
if there's
construction.
different subcontractors need, finish what they're doing, they need
Right.
to be paid.
So you would be on whoever the applicant is to kind of say, I'm gonna need to pay 30% up front or whatever. And then you could have like a schedule of payments for the larger projects.
But it'd be project-specific anyway.
It would be, yep.
Yeah,
But-
so that something large like that you're pointing out, that would have to be really personalized.
Yep, so that's why I say at
Yeah.
completion for phase projects.
Yeah.
Make it more, generic to say that can be very flexible.
You say, so only after the project or you could say phases of the project are completed, or components of the project are completed.
That's good,
As components are completed.
components.
Or as predetermined components are completed.
as predetermined,
Appropriate,
or
appropriate.
pre-agreed, or agreed, however you wanna say
Or you could say
the,
appropriate.
Basically,
appropriate.
whoever the project
Components.
manager is gonna work to coordinate this
Yeah.
anyway, so.
The
they'll
point
be
is that
doing
it's work after, it's payment after work, but it
Yes.
can't apply, it can't be the whole project
Right.
right,
for complex ones.
right. So just to go back to what Sandy was saying though, because you were talking about a very project-specific plan that they might actually give us a schedule of payments.
Yep.
If we wait for that, using yours as an example, this won't go out for months, because we're gonna wait for the whole bid
So
process.
you
part
just
of
want
the
to
application.
describe that process.
In
Here.
general terms.
In that,
You just want to describe the process.
in the bullet,
Yeah.
okay.
And you could put in the specific timeframes if they were known, if it was a smaller project.
Right.
Because even like most of them, they're not, because
Right.
for the two historical projects, that one of them is the consultant hasn't been hired, won't be hired until probably August, September. At that point, then they will set up a timetable of when certain work components are supposed to be phase 1, 2, 3, and it's supposed to be completed no later than June 30th, 2020. That's the only hard date that we have with Mass
Yeah.
Historical. And the weights and measures, it's pretty much just whenever they're finished, then we'll pay them.
So you could
That's my
say,
understanding.
you could
So-
just add the phrase, you could say after the project, and you could add, or appropriate components of the project are completed.
And then what if I put project leader or project manager is to provide a timetable or schedule
A schedule,
when
yeah,
identified?
Schedule of, what did you say, components being completed or something.
Right, as components are completed.
The segmented component of
Yeah,
the,
phased
of
or
the
whatever,
plan.
Okay.
whatever.
And who are they gonna submit that to? The project manager? Is that
John.
the intent?
Yeah,
John's gonna collect all
John or
of it.
me, and then it'll be attached to this document. Is that all right?
Well, the project manager should have a copy too, I would
Yeah.
say,
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, so for this bullet, when I put it together, is it okay if I run it by Paul to look at, since he's facing the next project, and then
sure.
make sure, okay.
We don't want, I don't think anybody's gonna say, oh, we can't pay you now, because it's only one payment, but we don't wanna tie our hands if somebody tries it.
Okay, excellent.
Do we wanna put a disclaimer in here? That any unanticipated, events or schedulings will be addressed on an individual basis, something like that?
It's in there in that it's somewhere in here I have any changes to the project scope.
I know we talked about it.
You know,
Cause it even includes a,
Talks about additional records being required.
thought that we had that in
I know we talked about it.
Talks about budget,
Yeah, at the
project
last,
changes.
yeah,
the last
but
part.
any budget or project changes, the last bullet under accounting.
Yeah.
And any request to extend the project sunset provisions. So that bullet, the idea of that probably shouldn't just be under project accounting.
Which one are you looking at?
Last
last
bullet
bullet.
under
No, but it
project
went on-
accounting.
I'm
One-
on, they all have the same one. I'm
On
the
Paul's?
Common, yeah,
Doesn't matter, they're all
they're all the same.
boilerplate.
Those are all standard.
But my last bullet under accounting, it says the grant recipient must submit to the CPC.
Yeah.
Right, in writing, any budget or project changes, and any request to extend the project sunset provisions. Because the idea being any change to the project is ultimately gonna affect the accounting.
Would you want to say sunset provisions or timetables? That would cover you on the larger ones where you're into a phased completion? Or that you could do that if it's needed, never mind. Yeah, this is really good.
It is good to have it codified.
That's right.
Yeah, and the last bullet, you do mention the signs, and you might include a phrase for large projects for the prescription that we have, and then say for smaller projects, an appropriate citation.
Okay,
Appropriate recognition.
yes.
Appropriate for the type of project.
Project appropriate.
Gives discretion. Yeah, and I agree with Jim. This is a good statement to. It's a good piece of the process.
Jim, I also just remembered there is a plaque. I believe it's downstairs.
That guy knew.
Oh,
Wow.
3 o'clock in the morning, Paul's
I
gonna
just
go.
like, it just dawned to me, yeah, the's a big plaque.
We can go
That
looking
sounds like
for
an
it after the
appropriate, that's an
meeting.
appropriate citation.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
on
but-
the wall. When you said citation, it made me think of
Downstairs.
Yeah, but I think it was upstairs at one, I don't know. I just
No, it's
remember
downstairs
seeing it.
in the hallway, the main hallway, just inside.
I thought we looked at like a picture of what the proposal was when this was all going on. That's why I think I filed it in my head,
Yep.
but then I didn't see it.
There are plaques all over the place in the building.
Yeah.
People donated for different things. There's one in the elevator now for the Fullers.
Well, I think the CPA should have the biggest one.
Fullers gave a lot of money too.
And you didn't want to give him a brush off.
Yeah, that's
See what I did there? See what I did? Brush off.
John, when do you leave for Texas?
The 20th.
Okay, so I'll make sure that
2
you
weeks
have
from
these
today.
to sign
Okay.
before then, okay.
Okay, so we don't really need to discuss each of these unless you guys choose to,
No.
because we went over these and Joanne has plugged in all the data from the applications.
So you want me to sign this now?
No, cause I'll get you a new
You're
one.
gonna, oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
edit.
We gotta get a lot more red tape in there.
Tie you up. Make sure
Put
you
a
do it
light
right.
on the red tape.
Yeah,
It has to be done right.
Yeah, you guys always.
we're only a town, but we have a responsibility. It says right there, we already have a fiduciary responsibility to the act, so it must be one to the town too.
Okay.
Did you wanna did you need a motion to accept these, or do you? no?
So move.
Second.
Any
Son of a
further
bitch, I didn't get
discussion?
it in all. Third,
All those in favor?
bronze.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next is
Well, while we're still talking about these though, is that project assignments? Is that what?
project assignments is which project you in particular are shepherding through.
Okay, that's what I was, never mind.
Yeah,
So what's next, John?
project assignments.
Oh, there's an idea.
Okay.
I couldn't have thought of that better myself.
Paul is doing the historic common lighting.
So
Would seem to make sense.
we have, of the list of our members and so we have vacant for planning, so we have 8 members. Jim is in charge of the Stone Arch Bridge, which will, I would think, pretty soon be,
Yeah, I got an update for you that you asked for.
yep. Jen is
Dedication.
open space and recreation plan,
Which we're almost done.
and Paul is doing the town records preservation, which is an ongoing,
Yeah,
and with.
I have to
Ian-
go back and talk to Candy again. I did talk to her
Yeah.
prior to town meeting, and she just wanted to wait until
Get through.
the dust
Right,
settled.
and now that,
Yeah, she doesn't really know what the process is, and so we just
Okay.
need to talk her through it.
okay. And then I guess I told Joanne that I would do the CPA plan and the historic gravestones, which is kind of like
How are those gravestones coming?
they're
Yeah.
still there.
Honest to
They're
God,
still
they
there.
almost go back to the, Ekbar.
They go back to Abder Stowe and
So we
17 whatever.
didn't, did we assign anybody to the Institute Woods?
Well, these are the only ones that we have,
Oh, Sharon had Institute Woods.
Oh, okay, so we need to,
so we need a new person for that.
I'll take that one. Unless somebody else wants it.
No.
Well, we want to try to spread it out so
Could be
everybody
a
has
ranger.
one, and so like,
Oh, okay.
Experience.
if, like Jim is finishing a big project, so that we won't like say, okay, you're gonna do another one. I mean, it's nice that you wanna do another one, but we wanna try to have everybody.
Well, I was gonna do, the Lions Club, if you wanted.
It's
I
however
can-
you
yeah,
choose
I
to
can
do it.
Instant Road,
Okay.
Institute Road, since I live on East Street.
Okay.
and,
Ah,
I can walk to it,
okay.
although I have no idea what I just volunteered for, so.
It's a feasibility study they're doing on the trail from the
Yep.
school. Okay.
So basically, you just need to check in with the planning
Joe.
department, cause Joe, they're the ones that are
Oh,
running
okay.
it. So just check in with Joe and to get updates every
Okay.
couple months.
Like 2 days before the meeting, or
Yeah.
depending
I
on
can do
his
that.
how bit crazy he
Just
is.
send him an email.
Yep.
And sometimes it'll be nothing, and sometimes you might have something
Do you know
for you.
if recreation is planning to have any grant requests?
Jen was talking about it a little bit, but it's been, I think she's been like stretched super thin with the combination of the open space, because she was really working to massage the language
Right.
in the open space to make sure that she was putting forth her requests for, if I sound like I'm lisping, I just started Invisalign, and my mouth is like fighting me.
Can't even
And
see
so,
it.
so I think that it's something that she has been talking about, but I'm not quite sure
If
exactly
there's
where
nothing
that stands.
on that, because I think I did talk to her way back in this
Mm.
early spring, that if she had anything, whether it's big or little, short term, long term, just to let us know. So we have
Yeah.
like a big wish list.
Yep.
So that we have our like CIPC list that's just a running list of, you know, that we know the nitmucks are gonna be on there. We know the
Super Park.
Super Park's gonna be on there. We know more land from Robinson's gonna be on there, and maybe 10 more years, but at least to kind of,
I'm surprised they haven't come back for more of those, the seaweed barriers when they extended the beach.
I don't know that there's a whole lot more area that they can extend the beach unless they start cutting down trees.
But I
'Cause
thought
think
they
they're-
already extended it and we
Yeah.
didn't have a barrier, right?
They,
Well-
but I thought they did the barrier with the last lump of money she got.
We
Because she
it
did a
twice.
lot of beach improvements, and it was the pavilion, right?
And the
Yeah.
bathroom.
And the bathrooms, and I think there was more weed barrier then.
Oh, all
There
right.
was. There was a second one for that. 'cause
So they did expand
Oh,
the
okay.
swimming space. The sand goes
Yeah.
broader, deeper, I think, and just more of it, because
Yeah.
it just tends to wash right in the lake with the
Yeah.
rain. But any group that anybody's representing, like, you know, HDC, I'm representing, it's like we've got our big hit. I don't think we're gonna have anything coming up. you're.
I don't have
you're
anything new with
affordable
housing.
housing, but you know, there's really nothing right
Yeah.
now on the horizon, but that's something that with this report, we really hope that there will be something really concrete that happens.
No. What I get is that they're so close to doing so many very large things, but I've been getting that for 3 years.
Do you wanna assign the ones from town meeting, the projects from town meeting to folks?
Sure,
Yeah, yeah.
See, that's what I thought that was.
No, this is the existing ones. That was-
these are the.
Well, we just
what-
did,
that we currently have,
right.
and then Paul's, it's, on there. We're gonna add the, common,
And Paul's taking that.
yep,
So the cultural resources survey, is that you, John?
yes.
Are you sure you want that? Will most of the work be done this summer?
No, it won't,
Okay.
it won't even get started, they haven't even put that out yet.
Okay.
It needs to get started in late August, September. What about the,
Skills.
skills?
I can do it if you want. I will volunteer. That should be an easy one. I think Don will.
Don Clark, I think he'll have it under control.
Okay.
On hand.
But you already have one or two, Jen?
One.
You already
I have
one.
the open space and rec plan, which should be finished wrapping up.
Right.
But if you want it, I'm happy to.
I'll take the weights and measures.
Okay.
Just since sometimes I feel a little. Like
You
I'm
will
a-
be the
like
recipient
I'm a
of,
chair holder.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
you'll get everything you need in the little thingy.
what else are we, let's-
Yeah, Lions Club
Lions-
and Robinson Properties, although I don't know that we need one for
We don't need
Robinson.
one for Robinson. I think the sale.
Geez, I was gonna volunteer for that.
Robinson. You know what, I am, I'm gonna
is
put you
smart.
down, no, that's actually good, because, we have to make sure that the conservation restriction gets written and everything.
Yeah, that's the work on that one is making sure the CR happens.
Okay, so that's you, okay.
Cool.
isn't there, spoke too soon, isn't there conservation restriction on the meadows that still needs to get
That's
Yeah.
being worked on.
Yeah,
worked on?
yeah,
So, but that's staff wise, being handled, we don't need to,
I think Joanne's doing it.
other than just to make sure it happens.
I did a real rough one and gave it to Joe, and then he'll take it from there.
Yeah,
I just,
okay.
yeah,
Okay. And Lions Club,
I can do that. I'm gonna drop the Stone Arch Bridge.
okay, so,
They're having the dedication on the
23rd.
23rd. Yeah, I saw that. That was nice. I'll be away, but otherwise I would go.
June 23rd.
Yep.
Do we know
Yeah.
what time?
2 o'clock.
I sent you all the invitations.
No, I know. I didn't click it because I'm.
Well, no, it's just, but you've got it, it's in your readers.
I saw they have the big sign up there for the fundraiser.
That's for the fundraiser, yeah. That's coming along too.
so I think, we have all the new projects assigned.
So you have my email address, that on these things here, you'll put on there when you give it to Mena?
Yes, so everybody who's, like Dawn, I can use the email on this thing that I use for the committee? Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. And Sandy, same, it's your work one, you're okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not asking you.
Okay, Joanne has put together an RFP that we've reviewed, that, Joe has reviewed, and will be going out fairly soon.
Yes, Sandy was looking at it,
I have more questions than anything else.
okay,
So I'm just curious, who will be doing this? I mean, what profession? Is it a planner or is it who's actually going to be submitting on like a RFP like this?
my understanding is there's consulting firms that have done these throughout the Commonwealth, and that most likely there will be a couple of them that will submit. I had asked Joe about us using the regional planning department, and he did not want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that.
So I can send to you the names of some places that people.
No, that's fine. The reason I was asking that is that there's no, you talk about being professional, you talk about qualifications, but you don't identify if there's any specific qualifications.
Okay.
Like you have to be, forget what it's, ACP something, whatever. It's for like a
Certain
a plan-
designation.
a designation, a professional designation. And then, is it really the schedule is 56 months?
What is this for?
No, Joe must have changed that. It's 5 to 6 months.
Okay, there's a dash missing?
There must be a dash missing because it's 5 to 6 months.
Okay,
Yeah.
because, and then also the fee,
Oh, that sunset 3 years ago.
yeah, and also the fee of $2,515,000?
Yeah, no,
Okay, I didn't think that,
15,000. Huh?
okay, so there's an extra 25 in front of that.
Which document is this used for?
This is from the Google stuff.
That's wild.
So this is page 3.
Oh yeah, no,
thing,
but
Sandy's-
see, no, mine says the 25 is crossed out.
Oh, okay.
What you
okay.
might not be seeing, because originally I had put in 25, and then when Joe, this shows
Okay,
Joe's
so- so-
edits,
so-
what
so
I
the-
wrote.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the markups aren't coming through on
The
mine.
markups aren't
I'm
coming
going like,
through, right.
I'm guessing that's
Do you want
probably,
to see this hard copy?
that's okay.
Do I?
No, I emailed this to everybody, but I didn't print them out because I didn't.
Yeah, that's fine. So the only other thing is when you talk about like a professional proposal like this, the kind of the biggest probably cost is the meetings,
Okay.
and you don't define the meetings. So if you're not gonna define, like, you list a bunch of different folks they are supposed to meet with, but then you just say, project of meetings listed below, and then you basically have it really, open-ended and other key project participants. So you
They'll
might,
shortchange it, won't they?
well, either that, or you'll get 3 very different costs,
Yeah.
Okay.
because, so you may wanna just define it as, so up top and under the bullet list, you name the land trust, affordable housing, you list all those, you count them out, it's 10, plus representatives from local youth sports groups, the general public, so you might wanna have that, a minimum of, 15, or I don't know, whatever that number seems right, because when you don't have a number like that, cause that's like the biggest thing, I'm guessing probably 60-70% of this
Right.
fee's gonna be on those meetings. And then the other one, so the schedule one totally makes sense. And the only other one was, there's nothing in here about creating policies and so forth in your scope. So, you were just talking about you're gonna have them create policies as part of the scope, but it's not defined in here. And then you have, that they're gonna submit a draft CPA plan and a final one, which totally get, but maybe someplace in here you talk about, there's gonna be reviewed by the CPA, and, or CPC, in that, then you'll have to respond to the comments or something. So, I mean, I think it's no biggie, it's just kinda little things that tighten up the
Got it.
scope so that you can get better numbers, so you don't get apples and oranges. You don't want someone to come in at, 8,000 to lowball it, and,
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
not deliver what we need.
right.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was it.
I asked Joe about the interviews, and he did say that however we wanted that to happen, if we wanted to designate a certain number of us to be part of that process, or to have the whole committee be part of it. So that's something you guys need to think about. That when the bids come back, who wants to be a part of that process?
I don't think you need the whole committee, but you should have at least 1 or 2 people.
I think it depends on the scheduling, if people, because it'll be during the day, right? So if people are
So just throw it out and see who can come, type of thing?
I just went through interviews with Joe, for the conservation agent, and
Yep.
he's very prepared. He had questions all set, sent them out, everything, so.
Yeah,
It's pretty straightforward, and you should always be asking the same questions
Yeah.
between the, whoever's final, you know.
So I'll tell him that, you know, some of us would like to participate if we can.
Make it work.
Yeah.
When he schedules them, we'll see if we can make it work, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
see who can make it work. Vacations and.
Oh, and the other thing about the price proposal, you wanna make sure that it's submitted under a separate, you have it submit in an envelope, but it should be a separate envelope. Cause it's qualifications based, correct?
Right.
So you're supposed to look at the qualifications, then the bid should be opened, so.
Okay.
It's just we actually got kicked out once because
Who's we? Your company?
the company, because of the way we put the fee in an envelope, because we didn't follow exactly what they said. But it's the state, and that's just,
Right,
it's the way it has to be.
Right.
I have no problem at all with that, that's,
yeah,
you know.
right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
I gotta find out who's gonna help with the Grafton Common project, putting it together. Somebody in the town.
Why do you keep looking at me when you say that?
I'm gonna rely on your expertise. I'm only kidding. I gotta talk to Tim about that.
So, John, Sandy gave some excellent comments on the RFP.
Okay,
I'll work those into this with Joe, and then I will let him know that the committee would like to help with the interview process. He'll set them up, and then I'll send it out, and whoever can make it will come,
okay.
okay?
And from what we had said earlier, it probably won't be, the interviewing won't even start till July, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, cause it takes, you have to get it out, it takes 30 days.
Yeah,
Maybe
and,
longer than
and
that.
plus, Joe will say, your interview time is this date. It's not like,
They get to pick.
right, I mean, you can, there's a little leeway there, but really, it's like,
And
back when-
also with summertime, is that, you know, like a bad time, or does it matter?
I don't think it matters for this kind of work.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. So we're up to project updates.
I do not have an update on institute.
Shirking your responsibilities.
I gotta start off on the wrong foot, right?
Well, isn't that right, like right near where you walk, right near where you live?
Yeah, yes, it
And
is,
you
actually.
said you have nothing on it?
This past Sunday or Saturday, I would've walked right past the whole loop that I do.
What, did you have like your eyes closed? Was that it?
No, I understand.
Was this one of those
where-
trust walks?
Yeah, yeah. Not on those roads, that's for sure.
That's it. Well, I can tell you on the Stone Arch that they're going to be finishing up the landscaping this weekend. They'll be installing the electric meter socket so that National Grid can connect the power to the lights. Signage will be installed on the 21st, and the dedication, as you know, is going to be on the 23rd at 2 p.m. Once they're complete with the engine, this is complete, the engineer will be putting together an as-built and be submitting it to Concom.
Say that piece again.
Once they're complete, the engineer will be putting together an as-built, and that'll be submitted to Conservation Commission.
So once the
The
lighting,
National Grid is in there with the socket, and they tie in
the
the lights.
landscaping, then they submit.
Right, and the sign, then the as-built will be as-built.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Open space recreation plan.
We're getting close.
Okay.
You know, the language is just, again, staff is working hard to make sure that everything is correct. We all got assignments where we're checking out parcels to make sure that they're represented in the plan. I don't know, I'm going to like,
Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
look and see.
Look and
Like,
see,
make
just
sure that,
just to make it's more of an inventory, like at ECBLA, how many picnic tables, you know, does it match what, you know, it's more of an inventory, so we have, those things to do, but yeah, we're getting really close. And then it will need to be presented at some point, so.
do you remember, did Joe say anything about,
He didn't say anything about
I-
timeline, and I
because I
forgot to
think-
ask, cause it was so late when
Yeah.
we were leaving.
yeah, it was a 3-hour meeting?
It was long.
Yeah, it was long, but we, I just happened to still have the printout in my notebook. We did timing and reviewed responsible parties for all of the objectives and action items. So really, quite honestly, it felt like one of the most productive meetings that I've attended in a long time. So that really felt like a very strong step forward. And there was a little bit of like language change or like melding two actions together, but other than that, I feel like everything else is pretty solid. So fingers crossed, we're
Almost there.
heading towards completion.
Yep. So. That's it, all I have.
Okay, for the Community Preservation Act plan, that's something Joanne's been working on, and, we'll know more in the next month, right? Institute Woods, we know he didn't do anything.
I can ask Joe when I see him on Tuesday.
See,
What's
I already got someone taking over.
Right? It's only because I like you.
Delegation.
Yeah.
Town records, you
Delegation
said that
nation.
you had talked to Candy and,
Yeah, and I'll go back and talk to her again.
okay. And then gravestones, I have not heard from Deacon Stone, so I do need to reach out to him.
Who is that?
The guy that's headstone we're fixing.
He's probably dead,
I think for maybe a couple hundred years.
honest to God.
One other, this is not a, it's more that I saw Andy at a library meeting and talked to him about the Common project.
Yep.
And that he said he would reach out to you
Yep.
about, cause I said, you know, some of the things that we have for DPW to do, we just need to be real careful around the tree roots, and maybe that's what they don't do, you know, just, you know,
Oh yeah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah,
No,
but it's just,
have to be in.
That was the good news. That's, I was concerned about that after the big to-do during town meeting, when you said that, they're having that guy come in and take up the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, God bless us, you know, in the town of the DPW, you know, I'm sure that they told them to do it, they'll do it, but
Right. Right. Now, you know, it's too important that it gets done right. So, and hopefully the gypsy moths don't kill the trees in the interim.
well, you know what I was thinking? Remember the last time that the infestation got stopped was when we had all of that rain like we've had now. So maybe that gypsy moth virus will kick back in again now because of all the rain.
I didn't think of that, but that's
Yeah, I mean, they said, somebody told me though that it has to be rain in June, but that doesn't make sense to me because
that's when they're big and eat.
that's when they're big and they're really eating. I would think that what we had in May
Yeah.
would have,
Didn't they get some sort of fungus at the end of last year that said that should have?
Yeah, it was
That's-
some natural thing that
Yeah, some
really
natural
stopped 'em,
fungus
not-
that
yeah.
stopped them.
There was a fungus among us.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It stopped them mid-chewing. Yeah.
Not
I haven't
till
seen
after
as
they've
many
destroyed
this
a
year.
lot of trees. Yeah.
I've seen a couple of the very small ones, but not
Yeah.
a lot yet.
I did see a tree taped on my way here,
There's a bunch
on
of
North
trees,
Street.
Yeah.
way out.
Yeah.
So, they're getting ready.
In your package just is a spreadsheet. This is just the open projects. I finally got it really cleaned up and everything. I'll update this monthly and always give you a new copy.
So you'll add in the names that were just
I'll add in
assigned
the
today.
names, yep. And we're just including a little more information about the funds that we're taking the money from, because that helps if all the money is not used, then we know exactly where to put it back to. And how to find the actual article if we need it.
And I have a finance report that I didn't get in when we were talking about the treasurer's report, that there is a posting, and I need to check with, Anita, that on 217 it has Bayside Engineering for $759 that's posted to the committee's account.
You mean to the operating account?
Right. Rather than to, the Stone Arch Bridge. And so I looked there and there's a Bayside, but it was from November and that's February. So, I need to check with her to make sure that that's posted correctly. And and I could swear there were postings before for payroll and now I'm not seeing it.
In operating for me.
Are you getting paid, Joanne?
I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid.
Cause there is a posting on 4/4 and then it's, taken out. Like,
Those things are so hard to read though, aren't
yeah, I don't like.
That could have to do though with the work that I'm doing for Joe. It may be that she charged planning for all of mine and then she needs to go back and charge you.
Us.
You got another gig?
It's just, while Joe was short-staffed, they broadened my scope to include administrative help and planning. I've like done maybe, I don't know, 5
Some
hours
big
or
things
6
for
hours
you.
of work for him. Just, getting stuff prepared for him to just kind of be able to.
You know, I had another thought too, as I'm looking at this again, for the signatories, this would be John signing all of them.
Yes.
All of the letters. But, should there be an intermediary in there so that, he can rely on whoever has got the lead?
So maybe put on here, cause like you'll be listed on the one for the Lions Club, but maybe put on there as well a place for you to sign as the, CPC member,
Yeah,
town contact, okay. That's a good idea.
Be good for the, the group that's doing the project too, to know who their contact is.
Exactly.
and you know, Paul, you can carry your thing around because we are the representative and the project manager. You are, you have a fiduciary responsibility to talk to yourself. So you can say, that's, oh, no, I'm certified.
I'm doing
That's right.
it.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, Jim's slow on the punch. Any other agenda items? Otherwise, I think we have covered everything.
So you need a
So he
motion?
adjourns before we're even close.
Well, so should I,
Are we ready? Do we have anything else?
motion adjourn? Second.
All those
Me.
in favor? All those opposed?